What would you do if you could have a life that was always full of surprises? What if you could be secure in knowing trust and intimacy and permanence, but you never knew from week to week or year to year what was coming next? You would have a purpose, a sense of belonging, a set of rules to live by, a creed, a code of ethics, a life philosophy to frame everything you do. But you knew that if you just wait for it, at any moment, a new adventure, a new challenge would drop from the sky and you would find your mind wrapped up in it and lit up. A new obsession, a new game of intrigue. Sometimes it would be scary, even painful. Other times it would be comforting and pleasant, but it would always be unexpected. Could you live that way? Would you like to live that way? One man found out what it's like, and this is his story.
Hello, this is Viola Strepsada Volteri.
Hello, this is Viola Strepsada Volteri. Hello, this is Viola Strepsada Volteri, and you're listening to Obedient Love. He had no idea what he was getting into. He was just looking for something. He knew he had a desire to submit to women. He went on FetLife and searched. He had no idea how to go about it. Was this like ordinary dating? How do you let a woman know that you want to be led into a life of total slavery? To have your free will taken away? And what is this strange urge to be led, to be taken, to be owned? And how would one go about fulfilling this fantasy? Is it just a fantasy, or could it become a whole lifestyle? He spent time introducing himself to some women he thought that he might want to submit to. Some seemed serious, but not all that interested. Others seemed eager, but had ulterior motives, which mostly revolved around making a living. Some were professionals and others just outright scammers. He happened upon one woman who seemed serious and experienced. Her approach was unique. She had a series of videos which taught men the best way to approach dominant women online and how to begin to sort out these fantasies and feelings and desires within himself. She seemed approachable, soft-spoken but direct and assertive. She asked for nothing in return for these first lessons, but had an option for more if you signed up for a reasonable monthly fee to her website. She wasn't your typical latex-clad porno fantasy dom. She was a real person, relatable, genuine. The small tribute she expected seemed reasonable, just a way to keep her lessons going and share her knowledge while not having to hold down a menial job. He began watching her lessons and listening to her podcasts. He found out more about her. She owned several men already, men who would do as she said and who served her domestically, sexually, and in every other way, it seemed. It was a life that appealed to him greatly. He'd tried visiting a commercial dungeon and played with a professional dom. It was fun, but missing something. Most of her messages, the automated emails and regular podcasts, were practical, educational. But once in a while, there would be something strange. A series of numbers, some kind of hypnosis. A phone number that he called only to hear a recording in some other language. The same series of words repeated over and over. He wasn't sure what to make of it, but the mystery was more of a turn-on than anything. He thought if he was very motivated, he could try to piece it all together, but he wasn't sure if he should, or if he was meant to understand any of this. He just knew that she seemed to have insight into what he was seeking. He began emailing with her, asking her questions. He didn't want to appear too needy. He thought even if he could not unravel the mystery of what she was up to, she could at least point him in the right direction and help him figure out how to pursue this thing, this lifestyle or practice or whatever it was that was causing this sense of longing inside of him. His deeply held wish to serve a dominant woman. The more he thought and daydreamed, the more he wanted it. She seemed like a good teacher, and since having heard her voice, he wanted it even more. It seemed within reach. She was interested in him too. She asked a lot of very good questions that made him ponder, made him have to look into himself and define who he is and what he really wants. After a few months of communicating with the woman, asking for her advice, asking her about her experiences, one morning he awoke to find the following message in his inbox. We would like to invite you to apply for indoctrination into the DDG. We are an elite group of dominant women, casually referred to as the company. If you apply, you will be observed carefully and challenged repeatedly until we are satisfied that you are ready to be activated as a part of our worldwide collective. You may outline a set of limits at the beginning of your training. Outside of those limits, you will not be allowed to refuse a direct order from the company without being removed from the program. Once removed, you will never again be given an opportunity to join or to find out anything more about this organization. You will be blocked from contacting any and all of its members. We are not affiliated with any government, religion, or corporation. Our purpose is to establish a network of female-led communities around the planet, which act as our base of operation. Our goal is to promote female leadership and eliminate the vile pandemic of patriarchy, misogyny, and violence against women by any means necessary. Consensual authority is the only valid authority. Life is a series of choices and challenges to be solved. It can be meaningless or filled with purpose. If you are looking for a focus and a purpose, you must choose now. Will you continue? His heart beat faster. What was this? A kinky game? A scam of some sort? Who are these other women? This had come from the woman's email. Was she fucking with him? He had so many questions. I have questions, he replied quickly. He waited. You may ask me 3 questions, and then you must give your answer. Do you wish to apply to participate in the training program? He carefully considered his words. Is this a fucking joke? Is what he wanted to ask, but he was afraid that he would come off as too hostile. Are we playing now, ma'am? He typed his first question. Is this a game? He continued. I don't know much about you, your background, who these other women are. Who are you, and what exactly do you want from me? And finally, he thought carefully about what he wanted to know. His curiosity was piqued. If I were to say yes, what would the next steps entail? The wait for her reply seemed endless. He opened his email app repeatedly. An hour passed, nothing. He found himself daydreaming the possibilities. He imagined a group of women eating lunch with him naked at their feet, collared and on a leash. His mind wandered to a podcast the woman had done. In it, she imagined some kind of party scenario where men stood about with erections ready to sexually service women at any moment, the women commenting on their skills and talents to one another. Was that just a story, or was this the kind of club he was being invited to join? He couldn't take it. He locked himself in the bathroom stall at work, and he began to jerk off. He put on headphones and listened to another podcast, one where she told a story about her meeting one of her subs while she ran her dungeon, and how she decided to keep him locked under her bed. He imagined himself locked there, not knowing when she would pull him out of his cage or what she might do to him. He was close to coming when a notification popped up, an email. He almost dropped his phone on the dirty bathroom floor. His heart whooshed in his ears as if he were running a 5K. The combination of being so close to orgasm with the thrill of seeing her reply had him panting, and he had to quiet himself as he heard the bathroom door open. Her voice continued in his headphones. He half expected her to swing open the stall door and chastise him for being such a pig. But it was just a fantasy. A coworker pissed into the urinal, washed his hands, and left. Sitting there, pants down on the toilet, he opened the email. No, this is not a game, but we will play with you. You will become our plaything. His already hard cock twitched at the sentence. You will be expected to take this seriously and follow directions precisely. There will be real-life consequences if you fail to do so. We are a group of dominant women. We live across North America, Europe, Australia, Asia. There is almost nowhere in the world you could travel to escape us. I told you our goals. We enlist men like you to help us fight misogyny and patriarchy by any means necessary. Until you become a part of our inner circle, you will know us only by our casual name, the company. What we want from you is simple. You follow our directions and carry out the assignments and tasks that we give you. They may be simple and menial or dangerous and challenging. Some will be kinky and others mundane. You will not always know their purpose, but you must always carry through without question. The next step will be a written evaluation, an application form, and a formal exam to determine if your mindset is suitable for our purposes. After that, you will be given a series of tests to complete. If you are successful, then you will be granted a meeting with the woman who has elected to become your commander. You will answer to her from that point on unless you are formally transferred to another. Though you will train with her, you will never be able to refuse an order from any woman in the company. If you are successful in your training, you will become our collective property. Permanently. Here the email repeated phrases from the first. Consensual authority is the only valid authority. Life is a series of choices and challenges to be solved. Will you continue? And after signing her name, a P.S. You are not to have an orgasm until after you have given me your answer. He looked at himself, pants down on the toilet. Did she know? He looked around the stall and up at the ceiling. She couldn't really know. He gathered himself and returned to work, but could not concentrate. In a fit of excitement and unquenchable curiosity, he typed the words, "Yes, I wish to continue." He hesitated 5 minutes, then 10 before hitting send, putting his phone down and picking it up again many times. Then, feeling almost as if compelled by something outside of himself, his finger tapped the button and the email was sent. What's the worst that could happen? He thought to himself. Just moments later came her reply. Good. First, we must teach you patience and responsiveness. Sometime soon you will receive the application and written exam. You will have only 6 hours to complete it from the moment it was sent. Return it late, and you will be disqualified. After that, you will wait. If you receive a package in the mail, you will know that you've been accepted to continue on. If no package arrives, then it means that you have been disqualified. I wish you the best of luck, and also, you must not have an orgasm until given permission. That night, he could not sleep. What if the email went to his spam folder, he worried. He checked obsessively. He wondered about his commander. Would she be the woman in the videos? He hoped so. He spent hours scouring her websites, hoping for clues of what was to come. He listened to every podcast again. He watched every video. Images of her face crowded his mind. Phrases she had spoken in hypnosis podcasts repeated in his head. He wanted to jerk off so bad, but he obeyed. He wasn't about to blow it. He waited. He dozed off for a couple of hours and woke in a panic, fumbling for his phone. He checked his email. Still nothing. Do you want to know what happened next, dear listener? You'll just have to learn patience. Until next time, from Cathex's house to your ears, wait for me.